PUDcast is filmed on security cameras for a live studio audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PUDcast with Jason and Mike. I'm Jason.
And I'm Mike.
And oh boy, I'm done, man. I don't know where to go from there. North Carolina, game swap, Lincolnton.
That's right.
You threw me off, bro.
You know what kind of show this is going to be now.
Oh, man. Well, I have watched the full video of the podcast this week, and I'm here to tell you that, I don't know, Wayne Sisk is in there.
Hey, guys.
So, Mike, anything new going on in Lincolnton?
I could or could not have pushed Wayne in the face.
Did you? Oh, yeah. Well, Wayne committed a felony by calling me an asshole.
Many times, apparently.
Apparently. Several times. Well, so let's go ahead and bring it up.
Before we get into the heavy,
Boy, howdy, is it heavy?
let's talk about something that I stumbled across this week that I thought would be great to talk about. This was to me when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is pretty heavy stuff. Until this week went all to hell.
Yeah. Well, 2 months ago, actually, man, that whole incident happened in December.
Right.
We're just now hearing about it.
We're just getting wind of it. But have you guys ever heard of wasping?
Like the band Wasp? I'm going wasping tonight, man. I hope they play Drunk in Texas.
Not quite.
Wild child, I'm wasping, motherfucker. No. I'm sorry.
Wasping, apparently, is the act of
being very white.
not that wasping.
Oh, okay.
But, well, kind of.
Well, it is the podcast.
It really depends. It actually originates from West Virginia.
Naturally.
Oh, shit. Stop. Just stop.
And it's cutting meth. Not diluting meth, but enhancing meth.
Oh, shit. You can enhance it?
To actually prolong the high with wasp spray.
No.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Now, I've never done meth.
Wow.
I'm going to go ahead and just take a shot in the dark. So nobody in this room has ever done meth.
Right.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even like coffee.
No meth for me, please.
Jason likes the wasp piss coffee.
Yeah. And I do like coffee. But I've never thought about putting wasp spray in it,
Yeah.
man, until today, until right now.
Hey,
They put
the mother of
wasp
invention,
spray.
the mothers of invention, West Virginia, actually
How can I make my meth?
have developed this technique.
Oh, this is the
Technique.
product of a deranged mind.
So wait a minute, man. Hold on. Rewind.
Yes.
Wasp spray.
Yes.
Now, I've never done meth. I know people that have. Man. I've been around people on meth.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and put that out there. I personally, hey man, you want some of this? No, I'm good with my marijuana. At the time, I don't even smoke that anymore. But at the time, dude, that stuff keeps you up for days.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I guess unwasped meth keeps people up for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I mean.
But the wasp spray, where in the hell did they get that idea? Because wasp spray has like a nerve agent in it that kills wasps.
Isn't it poison?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's kind of the point.
Well, here you go. All right.
I don't want to spray a wasp and that motherfucker get jacked up.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're having the reaction that many are having.
Okay.
Wow, you're putting wasp spray on it. That's poison.
That's
But you're putting it on
meth.
which is
Poison. How can we make this meth more impure and dangerous? I know. Who's the first? I want to know. I want to see a picture of the first guy who put meth on his. Put wasp spray on his meth.
We'll take you by his gravestone later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, he's probably still alive. He's
probably.
Hell, he's probably still awake.
Yeah.
Probably.
Now,
Oh my God.
dude, I've never heard of this stuff, man. I just want to know who thought about this, man. I mean, what?
They might as well put gluten in it now.
Oh, no gluten, please.
Yeah.
Wasp spray, yes. Gluten, no.
Jeez.
Dude, that's amazing to me, man. Of course it came out of West Virginia. No offense to our West Virginia listeners, man. I mean,
no.
there's always been a little bit of a negative stereotype for West Virginia. So I don't
But
wanna,
it's not like you're Florida.
But it
I would actually be
There you
like,
go.
shouldn't this be from Florida?
a Florida man is waspy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
God, just wait till Florida does hear about this.
Oh,
Oh my God, man, it's going to be.
These were the
Yeah.
people that invented bath salts, weren't they?
I think so, man.
I mean,
Yeah, I
there's
think
a lot
so.
Of, a lot of shady stuff come out of West Virginia. I mean, you
Oh,
can't deny
Lord.
it.
Well, sure, man, but I mean, just well, that's crazy.
Where
I've
did you
never-
come across this,
Yeah, Mike, how'd you? We're trying to enhance his meth.
I mean, I was like, hey, my meth doesn't give me the same effects that it once did.
It doesn't have quite the same kick.
All right,
Google, how can I make my meth more potent?
Alexa.
Have you tried Wasp spray, Mike?
Wasping is a technique that is popular.
Alexa, order 1 can of Wasp spray from Amazon.
1 can? No, I'm thinking we're going to go a case.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez Louise, but no, I'm new. This is new to me, bro.
Yeah.
This is very new to me also.
Yeah, so wow. Okay. Well, speaking of I don't even know how to segue, Mike.
That's a hard
astounding.
segue. That's a hard segue.
Brother, in anything.
But like I said again, the person that first did this, what was their mindset?
I mean,
I know what their mindset
well,
was.
they're on meth.
but, I mean, I guess they're looking around the trailer and they say, "Hey, man, we got this here wasp spray."
Yeah. We've tried everything else. I mean, we tried
The
everything.
beer didn't seem to help.
Did you try lighter fluid? Yeah, that didn't work. It actually killed Cletus. You know?
There's always a dead Cletus.
Oh,
You don't get good until you have at least one dead Cletus.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry for anybody named Cletus out there.
if we could turn this around somehow and apply the meth to the wasp, spray agent, maybe we could kill wasp, a lot quicker. And effectively.
Well, like I said, or you get those sons of
Wow.
bitches jacked up. You don't want a methed out
could.
wasp coming after
Yeah,
you.
you can just have it totally rage out, which segues us into our next segment.
Perfect.
Segue of the week, bro. Maybe
Yes.
of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe of the year.
Yeah,
If we had an award, we'd give it to you.
Yes, you
appreciate
Segway
that.
award.
I want that silver button on the wall.
It's gold, brother. That's gold. But rage.
Speaking of gold,
I don't know about gold, brother.
and it's been internet gold here lately.
Oh my God,
Man.
man. For anybody who maybe didn't get the original Mike and the way Mike started off the show, which threw off everything. I don't even think I got to say, dude, it's actually a beautiful day in Lincolnton, North Carolina today.
actually is.
Cold as hell, but I didn't get to put it out there because you fucked me up, man, from the beginning. Speaking of fucking somebody up.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn it. Okay, first and foremost, man, I do not want to make light of the situation. I know we're kind of making a little bit of
Right.
jokes here
Yeah.
and there, but what happened, man? For anybody who's not familiar or doesn't know what we're talking about, since we haven't really said it yet, there was an incident
Lincolnton,
In Lincolnton.
the epicenter of all things nutty.
of all things situational.
Yeah, Yeah.
We are the situation.
maybe not so much like wasping and things of those natures, but definitely shady incidents.
Man, it was definitely
A shady incident.
very
Yeah.
shady incident, guys. Very serious. Let's turn down the fun for just a moment, man, and talk about what happened. There was an incident once again at Atrium Health, the hospital, the only hospital.
Yes.
Makes me wonder why we only have one hospital. A little bit of a monopoly there. Maybe if we had a little bit of competition in our healthcare. I know I don't want to get political on that,
Right.
or libertarian quote unquote on that, but that was my first guess is where else can you go? Or my first thing was where else
Right.
can you go?
Yeah.
They got a monopoly on it, man. I'm not a fan of
Yeah.
monopolies for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
Exactly.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole other yeah, we'll do that at some other point. So anyway, it is what it is. There's only one place to go, and this lady who's 16-year-old kid possibly was intoxicated. I don't know, man. There's still a lot of ifs.
It is still a contention of what was actually happening
Right.
at that point that nobody's really touched on from either side.
Right. But bottom line, man, this kid either intoxicated, definitely has some mental issues, some mental illnesses, mental illness issues going on. Was violent. He was swinging. I watched the full video. He was swinging.
And I want to stop you there. There's a difference, and I know you brought up violent. I've seen violent. You've seen
I'm sure.
violent.
Yeah, man.
I think the kid was definitely standoffish. Maybe not so much violent.
He was swinging.
Well, he
swung
took
first.
a swing.
He was swinging.
He took a swing when altercated, but
I'm definitely not
he was
justifying
not before
anything.
that. Before that, confrontational and
verbally,
very verbal, and very standoffish.
Right.
But nowhere was he just swinging at just out of nowhere, or
he did actually, man. I watched the full video
later on.
No. In the beginning, man, he did. But I'm not excusing it.
But just to start off with the one thing, he was there to seek help. This was not random. He's not standing in the middle of the street. He's not in a bar or a restaurant.
Right.
His mother specifically brought him there to get him help.
Oh, totally.
Now, I don't mean to jump in on start off, but my take is he's there for help. Yes, he thrashed, and I understand that a lot of people don't understand this, but this is a mental thing or an alcoholic thing.
Both.
And if you have that, there needs to be people who are trained to understand that.
Yes, this.
It's not personal when the kid calls you an asshole.
No, nor is it personal if he does take a swing, man. I mean,
and it's not up to you to show how big of a dick you've got to beat up a 16-year-old kid
or little dick.
Well, that's true. I'm sorry you kind of triggered me, so to speak. But I don't think that this should have gotten where it was because these were people who are supposed to be professionals, and they were not.
And that's kind of where I was going, man, because I do want to, I watched that full video, and I want to be clear, man, this kid definitely came in with the issues. He was swinging. He was raising hell. But to go with what you said, Wayne, people get like that, especially when they have mental health issues or even drunk, whatever. I don't know. But the way it was handled was so piss poor, man. This is a kid. Yes, he's swinging. Yes, he's raising hell. You don't. The first time that I saw anybody make contact with this kid is when he had his back turned to that guy, and he straight up speared his ass. I mean, he put him down, man.
That's the first time you saw contact?
Well, from anybody else onto the kid. The kid did swing on that first security guard. He did. I saw it.
So you didn't see the security guard put his hands on the kid?
I saw it at the very beginning, man. Yeah, like when they had their first little altercation. Well, I shouldn't say little altercation, but
that's where I'm talking about. It's like he didn't actually swing on anybody until he was actually
provoked. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah. And then he pulled a taser out on him.
Yeah. Now, what the hell is that about?
I know. Let's de-escalate the situation by pulling a taser out on the kid. Now, look, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how the hell you're supposed to handle that kind of situation.
Well, I don't either. I'm not a mental health professional, nor am I a drug counselor. I do have a friend who is a drug counselor who has had to talk people down.
Right.
And what he says you do is you do not try to confront them. You don't try to say they're wrong, but you do try to get them in a calm place.
Right. Verbally. You don't just start.
And then unless they are actually trying to hurt themselves or others, you do not lay hands on them because that will set them off.
And I tell you, Wayne, I think that what you said, man, and I know this is the podcast, we're supposed to have fun here, but I can almost devil advocate, man, maybe that was what they were thinking, and he was trying to hurt somebody. I don't know how you handle that.
But like I say, the situation itself should have lent to more understanding because they're at a hospital. He's there to seek help.
Yes, man. Yes.
That to me,
that's the bottom line.
It bottom lines everything.
Yeah,
they've caused more issues with this. Now he's facing charges.
Yes, of all
he's facing charges.
He has a felony charge on him. Now let's
take a look at this right quick.
Okay.
And for any of our listeners that are listening right now, if you've got a copy of this, the full video, security video, kind of watch along with us. We're going to start at the initial contact with the first security guard, the bigger guy, shaved head, with the 16-year-old.
And just to confirm, Mike, what you said, this is hospital security. This isn't a
deputy. Atrium security guard.
Right, correct.
Yep. I don't know him, and I don't know anything about it.
No, I don't either.
And I don't think they get any training, just a uniform and a taser.
Yeah, correct, man. And you know, Wayne, it's like we were saying, and obviously, man, you're working at a hospital, you're probably not going to run into this kind of situation a lot. You know, it's more for sick, actually physically ill, probably weakened people coming in. Mike, do you want to maybe fast forward just a bit?
Well, no, this is actually where it starts out with that initial contact.
Okay.
With the first contact right here, if you watch the security guard, and this is where he makes the contact right there.
Yeah. Okay, you're right, Mike. And he pushes him down.
Taser out.
Taser
out.
You're right.
He's got distance between him and
pushes him down.
That big push. That's a huge push.
Yeah, I agree. Okay,
even if I had not had any training, I would know not to do anything.
No, man. No, especially now. Look at the size of this 16-year-old kid. Man. Now that's not taking away that a 16-year-old kid cannot cause some damage.
No,
we all know that. We're not saying that you can't do that.
Now at this point, we see the actual security supervisor come in. Right here. Obviously, there's no audio to this video, so we don't know what the interaction or what's being said between all the people between this. But we do see, and right now it's getting fast forwarded.
Yeah, they fast forwarded just a little bit, of course.
For this situation.
Now
we're going back over here.
Now the kid's talking some shit, and he's being a little.
Of course he is. Obviously, does not want to be here.
Obviously,
and man,
they just take him down. They just take him down.
Okay, let's pause it right there.
Yeah,
so we can talk about this. This
blindsided this kid.
That was a blindside.
Clothesline tackle.
Yes.
Type. Slam
by a man who outweighed him by 100 pounds.
At least 100 pounds, man. At least.
Not sure that
onto hard concrete.
Yeah, right. Face first.
Now we don't know what the kid was saying, but it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't. I don't care what he's saying.
I don't care. Yeah, same here, man.
He can say something bad about your mama. You're just going to have to let it ride.
You let it ride, man. That's why you're in the position you're in.
Right.
Exactly.
Or it's why you're supposed to be there.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
At this point, I don't know that was necessary.
Oh, it's absolutely. I don't think,
especially with two security officials there.
Well, and they were trying to leave.
I don't want to call them officers.
Yeah, she was trying to get her son out of there because it was escalating.
It was escalating. The situation was getting hot. So they're actually trying to leave.
Yes.
And obviously, man, the kid is raising hell. He's, I think he slammed the door back shut, and this and that's going on, man. But what happened next, Mike? With that tackle, clothesline, the kid wasn't even aware that it was coming, man.
No, absolutely not. And I guess they felt that he was a
Did he pull the taser again?
No, he's got handcuffs at this point.
Okay.
They're trying to get the 16-year-old's hands, and they're having a time. Absolutely,
oh, well, sure,
with
man.
It.
He's fighting. I mean,
trying to
not really.
I
mean,
with these security guards trying to get him handcuffed, it's a bit much. I think, especially with two grown men and a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's my opinion, and these are a lot of our opinions on this thing. As far as we have, we are not trained in this.
Right. I don't know how to handle that
at all.
I want to know how to handle this situation
on either side.
Right. Just to keep it real, keep it.
But
fair.
But it seems like everything they're doing to me is wrong.
I agree with you, Wayne.
Questions. It definitely brings up questions.
It's excessive, man.
Was this too excessive? Is this the proper procedures?
Right.
For Atrium, which if you've seen the interview with the director of security from Atrium,
I saw
that is a completely entirely just a mess unto itself.
Oh boy, we'll
to the
talk
point
about that
where
too,
the paperwork was not filled out correctly.
Right.
From either security officials, officers, whatever you'd like to call them.
Right. I think you ought to call them unemployed is what you ought to call them. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
I like to say, this is I go back to, this is a man, this is a woman and her son who are looking to seek help.
Right. Yeah.
And then when she was trying to take her son to leave, they prevented it.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I understand we're trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but like I say, it is so far over to the other side.
Man, it's hard, even because, man, I am really trying to look at this from both sides. I'm trying to look at it from the quote-unquote other side that I do view this on.
Yeah.
But I just can't see, and once again, we are watching this tape for the people that are listening to us.
Yeah.
So bear with us.
Yeah, and people are, and you see people coming and going and looking, and I don't know what people are trying to figure out that, Are they trying to say, can we help?
Right.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
And it seems like they've had this kid down on the ground for a long time. What are they trying to prove?
And the poor mother, I mean, my goodness,
you
man.
can't imagine what she's going through.
Well,
here's the thing, and I don't know if this was ever touched on or not. She actually has another child in the car.
No, I had no idea.
No.
No.
That's what she's talking to now.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yes.
well, I see her opening the door here, so that makes sense. I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So this other kid has to witness this.
Yes.
That's
tragic, if he's trying to talk the kid down, that's one thing. But pick him up.
Pick him up.
Don't keep his face down on the daggum pavement.
Yeah.
After and this has got to be the point where he was bloodied. This has
Right.
got to be the part where he has the blood in his mouth. Once again, man, I know the kid
At
was
this point, he should be receiving help.
Yes,
From,
he's at a hospital.
Where are the hospital
He's at the
people?
hospital.
If he's in this,
Is
kind
there
of
a
condition,
doctor or anybody?
that could come out and help this kid who just
Right.
got slammed to
Yeah.
the ground by like you just said,
And
man, a
you
man
won't-
who's got outweighed by 100 pounds.
And you won't see that until much later.
Much later in the
Yeah.
in the tape.
Yeah.
In fact, Mike, I was going to say, man, maybe let's
maybe
fast forward.
let's go through some of this
Because I just want to see where Deputy Polston comes in, the deputy.
Okay,
who,
so here
Is this
here you
finally
see-
a doctor?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they
or
finally
a
orderly
physician or
yeah.
whatever.
maybe a nurse, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah, nurse
Right.
practitioner.
And-
maybe.
But I mean, somebody just to help the poor kid.
Right.
yeah. I mean,
I think that's
And then people
their
who are going to
concern
give
right
me
now.
grief by saying poor kid. Yeah, he's a poor kid.
Yeah.
man.
Here you have another one coming in.
And
as
once
well.
again, just to reiterate.
Now at this point, this is where you see the sheriff's officers pulling up
yes.
and coming in, and you see the nurse right
Coming
here.
to save the day.
Well, here's the deal.
Sorry. I know, man. I know. It's aggravating.
This
man.
is something that I've caught. When this second, I guess, nurse or
medical
person.
Right.
comes up, the conversation right now going on between these two, and it looks like it's almost this is me going out on a limb here,
Right.
but it almost looks like, hey guys,
Lay off. Get off of them.
this is the time to
Stop.
Something happens.
The cops are
close
here.
contact with these security guards.
Yeah.
Touching the shoulders.
Trying to
That
calm it
body
down.
language. I read body language.
Right.
And that says something to me that something's being said to these security guards.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably something to the tune of, hey, look, cops are here.
Right.
Let's get off this kid. Maybe.
Now this is Polson.
Okay.
Right here, the first one in.
Right. And you can tell by looking at the video that this is a large man.
Yes.
Yeah.
This man has to probably weigh well over 200, maybe 230. He's probably 6 foot plus tall.
Right.
Big man.
Yeah.
Can I say they still have not picked that kid up yet?
No, the kid is still
No.
on the ground.
I think he's actually being attended to
by the
by one of the officials from Atrium. There.
Is that one
Yeah.
security guard sitting on his legs?
Still, yes.
yes, they're
Yeah.
still holding
Okay.
him down. And this man is obviously an overweight individual who's sitting on this poor kid's leg. And I agree with you, Wayne.
Right.
Poor kid, Once again, was the kid an angel? Was the kid?
No.
No, absolutely not. Does the kid have issues? Absolutely, man. And
I go back to my original statement. He was there to seek help. This is not how you help.
Now here's the thing. They know right now, because you can tell one of the sheriff's officers went back to his vehicle to get gloves.
Yeah.
And so does
So he's
this one
bleeding.
right here. They're aware that there are potential bloodborne pathogens.
Yeah, sure.
That's standard.
right.
That's when you get your gloves.
Sure.
There's the potential there for anything like that, contact
Yeah.
with blood.
Right.
And
Which is common sense.
yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. You should learn that
That's-
in your first day of training.
that's
That's the
the
thing.
procedure.
I got no problems
Sure.
with that.
Yeah.
And like I say,
So they're aware
That he's
of,
bleeding.
of what's going on with him and
He's injured, man.
injury.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So here we got,
what was that, 4 deputies now?
3.
3.
yeah, I think
Three
the other one
in
is
screen
security.
at this time.
And I think the other guy's security, I believe.
Yeah,
So,
then we got 2 security guys and 3
three deputies.
sheriff's officers. Yeah.
And a medical, and somebody attending for the medical.
Finally getting off the kids, rolling
Yes.
him over.
We're rolling
standing
over
him
right
up,
here.
Or setting him up. Finally, as
Yes.
you just said, he's handcuffed. He's got his hands handcuffed behind his back.
and there are some words here.
Yeah.
And there's a spit.
Oh my God, man!
Yeah. Now let's go ahead and pause
let's
this
pause
right
and
here.
talk about it. No, I don't. Let it play for one more second, Mike, because this is what really caught me.
Well, let's
back it up. Actually.
Back it up to that initial punch in the face. Okay. And this is where we're going to start dissecting what happened here.
The Puds and Wayne are going into some deep stuff right here.
Yeah, I feel like it. Yeah. This is where they set the teen up, and he starts saying something to the officer. We're not sure what it was.
No audio.
He could have said anything at this point. Right. But just after he spits right at the officer.
Yeah. Blood.
Okay. Blood.
Right.
The hospital official right here, who's behind him, tries to cover his mouth.
Okay. I didn't even notice
So he doesn't do this.
Right. Okay. I didn't even notice that.
From spitting.
Right. Okay. Let's watch this again.
If you want to see that. Right again.
I see it, yeah.
Right there. He covers his mouth.
My God. Man.
Okay. At that point is when Polston gets spit on and retaliates by punching him once in the face.
Right.
And twice, or the second time is on the body. It's a glancing blow, is meant for the head. We all know where it was meant for.
Yes, indeed. He hit him twice.
Yes.
And, yeah.
And the second one glanced off, caught him in the body.
Right.
And from there, he has to be restrained.
Off.
And now he has to be restrained.
And now at this point, he bows up to the mother.
Yeah.
Now this tells me this man is inclined to show the potential of violence toward a woman.
Because at this point, the mother had been on the other side of the car.
Correct.
Just
she saw
talking to her other child.
Right. Until her son gets punched in the face.
She hears the commotion. She doesn't even see what happens.
Correct. Right.
She hears the commotion, comes over, and at that point, they meet.
And he walks up to her.
Yes. Very confrontational.
Very hostile.
Very hostile. And gets in the mother's face. Not sure what was said. Again, there's no audio. Let's go from here.
Let's hit the play button again.
The officer, one of the other officers, has to pull him away and guide him away from the situation.
And you see the mother actually puts her hands up against her chest. She is so taken back by this.
It was definitely I want to say a startling.
Very well, yeah. It looks
situation to have an officer come at you like that.
I mean, confronting you
exactly
in a hostile
whatever reason.
And once again, let me reiterate: this is a 200+ pound man who is probably over 6 foot tall, who's probably in the gym working out, kind of guy. You can tell he's a big man
with weapons and body armor.
With weapons and body armor. Who just confronted a woman.
Yes.
Without anything.
Without anything. In a very confrontational
about a foot
manner.
Shorter than him.
Yes. They probably outweighed her by over 100 pounds, maybe even close to 150 pounds.
Now, let's talk about
confrontational, hostile way.
Oh, yeah,
once again, I just wonder if this man, has ever had violence toward women, man. It makes you want. I don't know.
It really does.
I'm not saying.
It really does.
I just saw on video that he has the potential to do that.
And we've already seen him attack somebody who was helpless, literally handcuffed and helpless.
Yes.
Yeah. Still handcuffs behind his back.
I don't.
One of the third officers actually, if we look over here to this other side of what's going on, actually gets down and covers the child, the 16-year-old, which initially, that's what you had done to begin with.
Yeah.
Get the situation under control.
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's all you needed to do.
Man, that is.
And we go on even further. Let's go on. The one officer is pulling Polston away,
right?
And
he looks like he's trying to come back.
He is.
He's trying to come back.
It's like a drunk in a bar.
Look,
yeah.
All right. I want you to notice.
Like he wants to finish the fight. Like he wants to finish this kid off, or maybe even the mother.
Yeah. I want to get back to this pulling off, and you can see Polston. They're pulling him away. Okay, and he's going back. Okay, I want you to look at his left hand right here.
Okay. Like he was drawn back, like he was ready to fight again.
Yes, absolutely.
And look at the mother, just she's trying to get in between her son and that man, even though she knows she's got no chance.
And he just drew back like he was ready to go and finish. Mm-hmm. How is this man a police officer?
How is he still a police officer?
How is he still a police officer is what I want to know. Do you want to talk a little bit about that interview that Bill Beam, our sheriff, had.
Let's finish out this video.
Yeah, let's do that
man,
too.
For what it is,
all
because there's still bits and pieces of this that are almost important to this story. At this point, we don't even see the officers and where Polston
he's off
at
camera.
point. It's been said that he'd been pulled down to the ground. We can see Polston over here, and watch his mannerisms, his body language, and he shrugs.
And just like a drunk in a bar, like you
Right.
said, Wayne. Yes.
Yeah.
A thug.
A thug.
A thug. Absolutely a thug.
And at this point, and what should have been done initially, I think, what they do, and one of the hospital officials actually has to go in and get this. We probably should have started out with this to begin with. Once the boy had taken and got lacerated in the mouth,
Right.
had his mouth busted open, they get what is called a spitting net.
Spitting it. Yeah. This should have been done initially.
Yes, and they apply the spitting net over the 16-year-old's head to keep any of those bloodborne, like I said, that fluid from getting spit on anybody again. And from here on, I mean, it's just pretty well, just
It's chaos, basically, from this point.
Yeah.
Can you see how this escalated so unnecessarily?
Yes.
Very unnecessarily across
Yeah.
the board, Wayne. I mean,
The first guy, the security guard, started this whole thing, and he is not blameless at all. I don't care
absolutely
if you,
not. No,
I don't care if you had no training at all.
Right.
You ought to know better than that.
you figure out another way to handle this situation.
And if not, you get yourself a job down at Country Corner
Where
and pump gas.
Just like we used to do. And you
Exactly.
know why?
Right.
Because we're not security people.
Yeah.
Dang right.
And that's my thing, man. I hold my police to a higher standard than myself.
Exactly.
Now here's the whole thing that Bill Beam is coming out and saying. And first and foremost, man, I just hope people remember this in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I hope whoever runs against him brings this back up, because let's face it, man, the general public has a short attention span.
They do.
So in 2
Fair
years'
enough.
time, people may have forgotten about this. I hope whoever runs against him reminds people that this guy went on TV, lied,
Outright
lied, and then defended this Deputy Polston person.
I understand standing behind your people, but you cannot just blatantly lie.
No, especially not when they're in the wrong, man. He said that it was improper. So my question to Bill Beam, to the sheriff's department, is, when does improper become unacceptable? What does it take? Does it take a death? I mean, is that what it takes? I mean, when we see a man punch a child in the face, defenseless child in the face, twice,
right,
and then bow up to the mother, and then try to go back,
and has to be restrained by one of his brother officers. Come on,
man. I mean, what does it take to lose your job? Now, Mike, you had brought up something a little earlier, and Wayne, I don't know if you're aware of this. The former sheriff of Lincolnton, David Carpenter, he has something to say about Deputy Polston, did he not?
Yes, and it was put on Facebook.
But it's also been taken down.
It's also been taken down.
Yeah.
Right.
Fortunately enough, I have a screenshot of it.
All right. God bless the internet, man.
Let's see. And he was definitely vocal, and still is vocal about what happened. And he had posted right after the story broke. And what was that on? Was that on?
I think Thursday.
Thursday,
Yeah, I think it's Thursday. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if I can find that right quick. But like I said, David Carpenter, sheriff, before Bill Beam,
he was sheriff for a long time.
For a long time too. Yeah.
Sure was.
Pretty good one. Not perfect, obviously, but overall,
I went to school with David. I know him.
Yeah,
so, he's a pretty good guy.
Pretty good guy. Yeah, overall, pretty good sheriff,
for
man.
sure.
There was a couple things here and there over the years. I went,
but I mean, like I said,
you're always
going to have that. You're
Absolutely.
going to have that.
Overall, I was satisfied with him as our sheriff.
And he decides not want to be sheriff anymore. I understand that.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I mean, good
brother.
Lord.
I totally
how long can you do that without just getting tired of it?
Yeah, I mean, everybody deserves their retirement, man.
Exactly.
Including him. But good sheriff, a good sheriff. Yeah.
David states in one of his posts on Facebook, I don't think someone saw the same video I did.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Alluding to the interview with Bill Beam and the actual video that was actually shown. The full interview, and we'll talk about that later too.
Sure.
And then another one from Carpenter says, early last year when I heard that the deputy in question was in the hiring process, I contacted Sheriff Bill Beam and informed him that I had declined employment for him and advised him to do the same. ... He did not listen.
There we go. ... Right. So, you had your former sheriff, who was for years a good sheriff, pretty widely regarded as a good sheriff.
Yes.
And pretty well liked and well respected.
Yes, absolutely. Tell the new sheriff coming in, do not hire this guy.
Which should be a huge red flag.
You think that the new sheriff coming in would take advice from the old sheriff going out, who was, what you just said, Wayne, respected, liked, pretty much across the board regarded as a pretty damn good sheriff.
Right. But the thing of it is, and I understand this too, it is hard to find people who want to be in law enforcement who are good.
Who are really good. Yes. Yeah.
But, and I don't understand, like you say, when he's told flat out, bypass this guy because he has major issues.
Yes.
And now this guy has proven those issues true.
But here's the problem with that, Wayne. Now Bill Beam is standing by him.
And trying to cover his own ass
at the same time. Now we'll talk a little bit about the interview. He says he didn't see him hit him in the face, and I think later on, I've only watched that interview once.
I've only watched the interview once also,
and I watched the edited one. But now I'm gonna tell you what really kind of aggravated me across the board was Bill Beam's response. Everything he said in that response was just terrible. He actually starts out by saying, wow, it was an exciting interview or exciting.
This was his Facebook post.
Okay. Yeah.
His Facebook post after the actual the show on WBTV had aired.
Right. First of all, it's not exciting, man. No. It's a fucking tragedy. Right. Is what it is. It's nothing exciting about this.
No, definitely. And he was.
I was gonna say, Mike, can we pull it up?
That's what I'm about to do on here.
Because I know L-Town Radio had it up. That had a lot of comments.
Very much.
That.
I mean, there were a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Over 120, I think, was my last count.
I think it was like up to like 200.
Really? Yeah.
Is anybody not surprised this hasn't made national news yet?
It will. I think it will. I think it's on its way, and I hope it does.
Just to shine a bigger light.
And I tell you, man, I hope that this lady, I forget the lady's name, the mother. I'm talking about the mother. I hope she sues, and I hope she wins.
Well, the thing of it is,
and they're trying to make it a felony.
Yeah, she's got so much trouble on her now with her son being charged with felonies.
Here's the thing about that, guys. Okay, it's a felony. Spitting on somebody's considered assault. Right. And that's been like that for a long time.
Right. Across the board.
I got no issues with
me, you, Joe Blow, who cares?
It doesn't have to be a cop. It can be anybody. But here's the thing, man. This is where I think common sense comes into place. We all know there's a big difference between spitting on somebody and punching somebody.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Both are considered assault, but we both know one can really hurt you, harm you.
It was my understanding as far as actual striking, that's battery.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So maybe I'm a little...
Assault is like if I wave my fist at you.
I see.
Or
battery is
spitting.
You threaten you.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But still, man, at the same time, I expect...
No physical contact.
Right. Even though spitting is physical, but it's not harmful per se.
Well, it's
bloodborne.
disgusting.
Like I said, you've got that bloodborne.
But it's not going to give you a black eye.
Just don't do it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But here's my thing, man. A cop, in my opinion, should have enough restraint. I know bouncers are more restrained than that cop. You know, I mean, seriously, man. I mean, when you
for what it is,
I mean, that's up to the policeman to just wipe it off. Yeah. Hey, I need to get tested here. Somebody put a spit on this kid.
He was acting like a bouncer.
He was acting like a bad bouncer.
Yeah,
a piss poor bouncer that should be fired.
Yeah,
is who he was acting like.
All right.
You don't need if you're standing there with a gun, body armor, and a uniform on. You don't need to prove how bad you are.
Weighing over 200 plus pounds, over 6 foot tall, man.
You already are bad.
Right.
You already are bad.
Yeah.
That should be enough for you.
Yeah.
Just don't sit there and try to bear up to a woman like you said.
Yeah, man.
And then try to go back and punch her son again in handcuffs. And have to be restrained by one of your fellow officers. That you don't do.
Well, and everybody's like, well, he spit blood in his face. Like, blood. He got blood, man. He was injured.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have had blood in his mouth to begin with.
Right. Yeah. And again, like I say, we all go back to that very first, and I'm going to say it, asshole that started this by knocking the kid down.
By pushing him down to begin with. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
I think
Atrium should really take a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely.
For this.
And I think this whole thing, I know the sheriff's office is catching the majority of this heat. I don't think Atrium is catching
enough.
Yeah,
that
where was the medical professionals?
This was the beginning of this thing. This is where it escalated, and unfortunately, the sheriff's officers, Polston, for what he did and went way too far. They came into a already
it's hostile,
out of control situation.
Right.
Yeah. That shouldn't have been.
They had to walk into that.
They should not have to have been there
to begin with.
No.
Right.
They shouldn't even been called in.
No.
Right, and I agree. And that lady that was in that interview too, the head of security for Atrium or whatever,
the director of security.
If she does not hand in her resignation, but once again, what do? I mean, we can't not go to that hospital. There's no other options. So.
But you can, like we're doing now, we can shine light on them people and let people know this is not a good location for people to go for help.
For help. And man, I mean, I'm even thinking ACLU maybe ought to come take a look at this.
Somebody needs to look at this.
Since it's a police battery issue, maybe Black Lives Matter, who's been very outspoken against this kind of activity. Maybe somebody ought to contact them. I mean, if Bill Beam's not going to do the right thing and fire this man, then maybe we should bring in some people to take a look at this thing. Maybe shine a little bit brighter light.
Well, let's take a look at this statement from Facebook from Bill Beam. I quote: "Channel 3 News was quite exciting last night. I did not see it until after 10. I have always been treated fair by all media people I have encountered. Except Mr. Nick Osner, is that
sure?
Osner, is that his last name?
Close enough.
Osner. Yeah. He edited out my remarks, so I will issue them here. 1. Lincoln County Sheriff's Office had officers on the scene, but only one officer involved in the event. That was Polston,
right?
Obviously. 2. Our officer, Deputy Polston, made an improper response to a juvenile that was highly intoxicated. Atrium has the blood alcohol levels, according to Beam here.
Is that legal to even say that?
No.
It does. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds.
I don't think he's allowed to say that.
As far as a juvenile, I don't think so.
Or even for anybody.
I'm not sure. Not sure on that one.
Is there some privacy?
A tricky one.
Yes,
that's a tricky one,
especially for a juvenile.
Especially if Atrium has the records. It's a medical record. You're not allowed to say that.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, man. I don't know. It sounds sketchy to me.
Yeah. I'm not so sure about a Facebook post. If he had done maybe a
press conference,
conference on this, maybe.
I don't know.
But he goes on to say, cuffed behind by the hospital security.
Right. That's true.
The juvenile spit blood directly in Officer Polston's face. We have photo taken just after it occurred.
Right.
We can see it on the video.
We see. No one is denying it.
No one denies it.
His response was to strike the juvenile, first to the side of the head, then a second that missed.
Couldn't really tell if it missed or not, but he definitely threw it, man. His intention was not to miss.
Right. Officer Polston's response after this engagement was improper and unprofessional. And this is alluding to the response towards the mother.
Right. And then possibly going back.
Yes.
Trying to go back, yeah.
2 other deputies blocked and removed Deputy Polston from future encounter with the juvenile. Right. We see the one. We didn't see anything that happened off camera from the security camera.
Correct.
It could have been body cams.
Which we'll never see.
Which we'll never see that.
I think that should be offered in as well.
I agree. I think we should see
never happen.
No, never. No. But I think we should, as the public, be allowed to see footage if it does exist.
Every time.
Every time.
Okay. Now he goes on to say the 2 officers on the ground was not on the camera angle I viewed, especially us.
Okay.
When asked by Nick Osser, the reporter, I said no, and he said it was on another camera angle, and I stated I did not see that, which was that interview that we saw on there.
Right.
Many Facebook critics and ex-law enforcement would throw Deputy Polston under the bus.
Right. So now these Facebook critics are his public, the people that he swore to protect and serve,
and
the
I'm
people
guessing,
who voted for him.
I'm guessing ex-law enforcement.
David Carpenter.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be who he's talking about. Unless anybody else that has been law enforcement, spoke up.
Yes.
That we don't know about. And he goes on to say Officer Polston was disciplined in December of 2019.
Right. So he probably got to go home for a week with a paycheck.
Well, nobody knew. Nobody's offered up that information as well.
I'd like to know how he was disciplined.
The reporter even states himself he could not find that on any of the officers' records.
Right.
So he goes on to say, because Officer Polston was assaulted, I will not throw Deputy Polston under the bus for this and no other reason.
Because he was spit on blood that he had,
right.
Due to his injury that shouldn't have happened anyway.
Yeah. And he concludes with, I will not discuss this situation on Facebook again. Right. If you wish to discuss this case, please see me.
Which is very hostile and confrontational in itself. Usually when somebody says, if you got something to say, come see me,
right.
It's very confrontational, very hostile in itself. So does that mean that everybody who's got an issue with this should all just go up to the sheriff's department and go
line up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what we should do as a community. Maybe we should organize something to go and
everybody have their statement written out and read it to him.
Yeah. I mean, since he said he invited his community,
Now, after, it wasn't probably about an hour and a half after he had posted this on Facebook, WBTV released their full interview with Bill Beam,
and they also released a statement as well.
And released the full video from the Atrium security cam on their website as well.
Right.
Yep. And from everything that was seen through that interview, there wasn't much cut out from that interview other than basically questions being repeated.
You're right.
Statements being repeated over and over again.
Right.
A lot of repetition that was just cut out. Not
Probably
so much edited,
but cut for time, edited for time. You can say,
I think that he has tried to cover himself, but he has made this grave error of trying to dispute what we're seeing with our own eyes.
Right.
I tell you, man, especially since he was assaulted. So, in other words, his whole thing is like, if you spit on one of my cops, we can physically beat you, and it's okay. And I'm gonna back him up. That's what I get from it.
I don't understand why that. I mean, being spit on is horrible. I've had somebody spit on me before.
I have too, bro.
And it just it enraged me.
Yes, absolutely.
But I was not a cop standing there waiting to arrest somebody.
Thank you.
I was some guy in a bar getting ready to punch this idiot who just spit on me.
But you're not a cop, man. And a cop, once again, I'll say it again, and my whole thing is
trained.
Supposed to be trained.
I hold my police to a higher standard than a drunk in a bar.
Exactly. And I was taken out of that bar by a well-trained bouncer
who's probably more well-trained than this guy.
Who was all the time, as he was hustling my ass out, calmed me down.
Right. Talking it down.
Just talked me down. Yep. And he said, we'll throw him out after we throw you out.
Yeah, you both
and
gotta
that's exactly what he said.
Yeah. Once again, man, and I think Bill Beam's really painted himself into a corner that he's not going to be able to get out of.
Definitely with that
The cover-up is always worse than the crime.
Amen, brother.
If you watch this video, the full interview, you'll see definitely discrepancies with everything that's being said, even oh my gosh, what am I saying here? Hypocritical.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
To points to where the reporter asked him what kind of discipline did he receive.
Right.
And Bill Beam says, well, that's personnel. That's personnel issue.
Which sounds like none.
In the same interview, Bill stated that they're trying to be open and as transparent as they possibly can be.
No.
This is once you layer yourself like that, it's hard. It's hard to get that good grace with people
back. Yeah,
and that trust. If he had come out just after this incident and said, held a press conference, this is what happened. This is what we're doing about it.
It wouldn't even be a story.
I'm investigating this officer and is trying to determine his disciplinary action.
Right.
He didn't even have to say fire him or anything. Just say I'm trying to determine a disciplinary action. Now, people can say, well, that's sort of giving the officer guilty till proven innocent kind of deal. Well, yeah.
But at the same time, it's an investigation.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing with any job, man. Let's say somebody says you're stealing money from a job or something.
Right.
You're going to have an investigation.
Oh, gosh.
Internal investigation.
And you have to assume that the person under investigation is going to have some sort of disciplinary action. Right. It may not happen, but again, like you say, these people should be trained
better than this.
And it goes back to something I said years ago. They should not call the police for someone who is having a mental problem. How many times have we heard about somebody having a problem in their front yard and getting shot by the police?
Yeah, which actually, guys, now I don't know. I haven't had this 100% confirmed, but I believe Deputy Polston is the same man who shot a man, and I believe it was a justified killing not that long ago, but still. I don't know, man. And once again,
I don't know either.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, but I did read that apparently there was a situation where he did shoot someone in the line of duty and it was justified. But still, man.
Well, the thing of it is,
that's something
we're asking police to do things they're not trained to do. Right. You should not have a police officer who's trained to arrest criminals deal with somebody who's having a mental breakdown.
Yeah,
because all they've got to deal with it is a gun.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I'm saying. And man, no good can come from that.
And people are afraid to call anybody when their loved one is in danger.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, we're in a society now to where you're scared to call the cops if you need them, and now you can't even take them to the fucking hospital.
They had what was that in Texas? That woman was in her house and heard somebody moving around. And it was the cops because somebody had done wanted to do what do they call it, a health check or
because they hadn't heard from her.
So the cops, instead of going up to her door and knocking on the door, they were sneaking through her bush. They were going through her bushes, and she pulls a gun, and they shoot through her window.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's ridiculous, man, where we're at. But and like
you can't ask cops to do things they're not trained to do. They're trained to do law enforcement, which is fine. Right. Do that. But we need, and again, like I say, this is stupid for me to even say it, but we need to have trained professionals, like in an ambulance, who are EMTs, but also mental professionals.
Right, man. It needs to be part of the training. And once again, I've said it a few times on this show. I'm going to say it one more time. I hold my police to a higher standard.
Yeah.
My taxes pay for these people. I think I have the right to hold them to a higher standard than I do at some drunken bar.
Right.
Some bouncer at a drunken bar, which is exactly what we saw. And Bill Beam, I'm sorry, man. You know, Mike, we're talking about painting him in a corner here. He's done right now, man, because now if he doesn't fire him, we've all seen the footage. We all have our opinion. We all know what this man did was wrong. We all know it was a fireable offense. I don't care what anybody says, man. He should be fired for this. But now if he does fire him, well, hey, he just went back on what he just said.
And none of his officers will ever trust him again.
So, man, he really painted himself into a corner.
And you got to see it from their side, too. They didn't do anything, but they're being painted with the same brush as this guy.
Exactly.
And I think that's one thing that I want to say that's not the same.
And these guys out there, and they're out there every day and night trying to risk their lives. I mean, how many times have you heard about some guy just walking up to a house, like I say, to do a welfare check, that's what I'm trying to say. And knock on the door and get shot. I mean, we're not saying it's not a dangerous job. My God, it is.
And it's an appreciated job. We appreciate it, man. I mean, I can't speak for you guys. I appreciate the police,
the fact that they're out there, like say, willing to risk their lives for that. My nephew did that. He was a member of the sheriff's department for many years. And he, you know, like I said, got a little tired of it.
Sure. Oh, yeah, I mean,
the thing of it is, you know, and you cannot stress enough how much we wouldn't be a society without
them. And I want to just kind of go with what Mike was saying. And, you know, we want to let everybody know that we're not ever saying fuck the police, man. We're just ever saying that this particular deputy should not have been police to begin with, and definitely shouldn't be police anymore.
And Atrium is due to have a big lawsuit.
Yes, sir. And I hope they lose that lawsuit. I hope, man. And kind of going back to what I was saying before we even started talking about this, I would love to see options in town for our medical care.
Right.
Instead of one hospital, because once again, you don't like Atrium, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do? Right. Well, I can't go anywhere else.
But we
need options,
and
man.
Training for people. My God, we keep going back to this. Why was the security officer even talking to this kid?
To begin with, man.
What the hell was his problem?
To begin with, they should have had
walk him inside, say, this is a medical professional.
Yes.
Talk to him. And if things got out of hand, then you go in.
Right. And even maybe have a mental issue. People with mental issues even have a place for them.
Exactly.
You know, why a quiet place. People,
or something. People have ignored people with mental health issues for so long.
Yeah.
And that's what causes most of our crime.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
what causes most of our homelessness.
Yep. 100%.
I mean, it's just so we don't, and it's all comes down to, and this is going to be me being liberal, money.
Oh yeah, no, it does, man.
Money.
It's always the money.
It's more expensive to prevent it. They think in the long run. If, like I said, if we had like like an ambulance that has like an EMT and a mental health professional on there,
or have the EMTs be trained in mental health as well,
and then like I say, and I'm not saying if you got some lunatic, and I'm using that word loosely, out in their yard shooting their gun, you don't call the police. You have to.
You have to, man.
That's when
people are in danger. People are in immediate danger.
But when you got some guy out in his front yard, he's sitting there on his back legs just crying. Don't need a cop.
Don't need a cop, man. You just need somebody to come help him out.
Don't need a cop.
Man.
And a cop's going to come and put his hands on him and say, come with me, and that's going to set him off.
Set him off, man.
And the cop's got nothing else to rely on but his own training on trying to restrain people.
Right. Or a gun.
Or a gun. And they should not be put in that position.
I agree.
They have so many poor people out there who are trying just to get by.
Yes, man. Yeah.
And mental health right now is such a neglected issue in this country.
Well, and I think, man, it has been for a long time. I think we're just now starting to see mental health come in, especially now with situations like this. And I think the internet, social media has helped with that. But let's be completely honest, guys. We're all fairly old school people here. Yeah. Well, back in the day, if you were depressed or had mental issues, you're just being a pussy.
Right.
I mean, you really were, man. It was always different from a physical ailment because, you see that, you hear the cough and you see the whatever, man, the symptoms is what I'm trying to say. And mental illness, you're just being a pussy. Don't be depressed. Or he's just an asshole if he's...
And television has not helped us in that. How many shows do you know about some hero who will not go see the psychiatrist because he's too damn strong? Shut up.
And it's been like that forever, man.
Exactly.
And it's been like that forever.
Yeah. You need to go talk to the doctor about your situation. I'm fine. I'll just sort of drink more and push it down.
I'll push through, man. I'll rub some dirt on it, as they say.
And that's just ridiculous. People need help.
People do, man. And mental health is just as important as physical health. In fact, I actually, my dad, he's a huge Dr. Phil fan. I know me and Mike have talked about that and kind of but Dr. Phil actually did.
Yeah, we give him grief for that.
We give him a little bit of shit here and there. But Dr. Phil actually can come up with some good stuff, man. And I was passing through, and I kind of got captivated into the show. I kind of, let me see what Dr. Phil got to say here. Dr. Phil ain't a bad guy.
But you have to have somebody like that who's at least trying to recognize that there are issues you have to deal with.
Right, and he made a good point. He was like, hey, look, mental health doesn't, and I think also when we think of mental health, and this is kind of what Dr. Phil was saying, I can't believe I'm over here quoting Dr. Phil on the podcast, the Philcast this week. But he made a good point. It was
Get
like
you in the feels.
Yeah, he does get you in the feels. But it's like he was saying, sometimes, man, you need a little mental health, just like you need to maybe put a brace on your knee. It's not that big of a deal, because I think also when we think mental health, we think of schizophrenia, we think of these hard psychosis, stuff like this. But sometimes, man, you just need to pop a couple quote-unquote asprin. You just need a little bit of help. It's not something you got to go into the asylum for.
Talk to somebody.
Yes, man.
Talk to a professional. If you and I'm not saying you don't talk to your friends or your family, but sometimes, like you say, the only thing they've got for you is rub some dirt on it.
Dude, I tell you, man, I'm going to pick on my friend David Hayes. We always pick up, everybody else, I'm like, well, I'm not going to bring this person up by name. When it's David Hayes, well, David Hayes said.
David Hayes.
Yeah, man. Two Dog, obviously. But man, me and him talked about it one time, and I was going through some shit in my life. And dogs, man, I had we discussed this later on, but I was in a downswing, and he's like, oh man, just quit being a pussy. Right. He would.
Right.
Yeah. But then, we talked a little bit later on, and he was like, yeah, man, that's probably not the best way to approach it, know. And I'm like, yeah, man, you're not a professional. I'm not a professional.
Right. When you're not trained for that, you're not trained in how to deal with it, man.
Yeah. And it took a couple years, and we were talking. I was like, man, you used to get on to me, and I was going through some down shit. And he's like, yeah, man, not cool. He recognized that. Yeah. But he, like us, he's old school as hell, man. Yeah. Rub some dirt on it, motherfucker. Get over it, man. Go. But sometimes, man, mental health is just like physical health. You get a cold. Doesn't mean you got to go into the hospital for a year like people think you do with mental health. You don't go in the asylum for a year. Sometimes you just need a little help. That's all you need.
Think about, our buddy Warren talked about the fact that he had lung cancer.
Right. Yeah.
He said this is proof that not going to the doctor for 20 years was a bad idea.
Amen. Right. Yeah. Same thing. Mentally, brother.
I mean, and then like you said, you don't have to go in and lay on a couch and scream and cry and stuff like that. Just walk in and talk to a professional if you need it. And if you don't, fine.
Because And you know this as well. It's non-judgmental,
Right.
Exactly.
Environment. You don't have to worry about this person judging you, or what's he gonna think of me, or what's she gonna think of me, later on down the road. Now that I've said all this stuff, no, that's what they're there for.
Yeah, man,
and
that's
they do
their
not
job.
judge.
Yeah.
They're not there
exactly.
to judge.
And I want to just kind of ride on those coattails. Let's let the people out there that do listen to us know. Most decent human beings, including the three of us in this room, we don't judge either.
No.
That's one thing, because I think sometimes people do worry.
Right.
Oh, what will my peers think? What will my friends think? Well, if they think differently of you, or if they think down of you because you do want to go out and seek some mental help, then they're not really your friends to begin with. Mm-hmm. If they're family, you can't pick family, but you can tell them to fuck off. You can tell them that. I mean, don't worry about being judged. And just to kind of wrap up this whole thing, for me personally, I'm not saying we got to wrap it up in general, but just for me personally, a message to the sheriff's department, a message to the Sheriff Beam. I voted for you. Mm-hmm. I did. I know I usually don't like to say who I vote for or who I don't vote for. That's personal, but I did vote for the man. First and foremost, man, we're not coming down on the police.
Right.
No. Once again, like we just said, we appreciate the police.
Wouldn't be a society without them.
No, we appreciate the sacrifice you guys make. Because like you said, Wayne, a little earlier, man, every day these people wake up, man, could be their last. It really seriously could.
Seriously could.
I mean, every day these people could face potentially life and death situations. Bill Beam, I think you made a bad choice.
Right.
I think you made a bad decision in keeping this Deputy Polston on. And Deputy Polston, I hope you don't beat me up if you ever see me, if you ever hear this.
Right.
But I am worried about stuff like that, man. Do we live in a society where we could have reprisal against us for speaking out against police or certain police members?
Right.
Oh yeah.
That worries me. Even coming
yeah.
on here now, I'm like, oh God, man, should I upload this or not?
Right.
I mean, I don't know who's going to hear this or who's going to spread the word. Hey, man, those puds were talking shit, But I don't think that this is the right job for a man who's going to go that hot-tempered for just being spit upon.
Yeah.
Man,
especially against someone who didn't spit upon you, and as a woman.
And as a woman, man, and
I know that's not the right thing to say nowadays, but
it's the truth.
It's the truth. It's a woman who, like I said, was just trying to help her son.
Yes.
And I don't think we've talked as much about how sad it is for her.
I feel so bad for her.
The things she's got, and her son, like I say, he's got issues. I don't know what's going to happen to him. I hope he gets help. But her right there that whole night, and you got to think she's the one that took him there trying to get him help.
Trying to get him help.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could say to the sheriff's department, first of all, to the mother, I'm sorry you're going through this. I hope your son gets the help he needs.
Right.
To Sheriff Beam, Sheriff, I don't know what you can really do right now to help to change my viewpoint. Maybe you can figure something out. I think Sheriff or Deputy Polston should be fired. I'll say that publicly. I've already said that. I'll say it again. I think the man should be fired. I don't think he's the right kind of person for this type of job.
I think at the very least, he needs some kind of
anger management.
Yes, some different kind of training.
Yes.
Maybe he then evaluation.
Maybe he could redeem himself, possibly.
Right. It's possible.
But
it's
guys,
possible all the way around.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if you
and like you said, I don't know him personally.
I don't either.
We don't know him personally. We don't know his day to day.
I don't know him. No.
Everybody has a bad day.
Yeah, but man,
that's true. But if you're in that position, that's not the place to have it.
Exactly. Once again, man, and maybe I should lighten up on that, but I don't know. I think once you exhibit that kind of behavior, I think that should disqualify you. Because, man, we're talking about police here.
Right.
I go back,
absolutely.
I go back to what,
absolutely.
Yeah. I go back to what a buddy of mine used to say. He was one of these guys who, like you said, he had some run-ins with the law, and he said he could tell you that there are law enforcement officers out there who are just trying to do the job.
Sure.
And he said then there are some people out there, some law enforcement officers who want to prove how tough they are.
Yeah, and unfortunately it looked like this. Yeah. And once again, I don't know this guy, and I hope I don't encounter him, and I hope if he hears this and I'm not marked. I worry about stuff like that, man. I mean, we are a podcast, right, and we do have an avenue that most people do not have.
Right.
I mean, even though we're not, I mean, we only got like 111 subscribers, which is really cool, by the way.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. But we do have a medium that most people doesn't. So
to stand up and say something.
To say what we feel. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, man. Even as I'm saying the stuff I've been saying, I'm over here like, oh, shit, man. I hope I'm not fucking up. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Finger, you were driving with the headlight busted out. Oh, no, my headlight's good. Oh, yeah. Shit, you know.
If that's the case, then we're right.
Well,
we're which exactly. I don't think, honestly, let's hope that we are not right in that aspect.
Oh God, I hope not, man.
But no, I mean, going back to that training, that counseling, maybe not have him come back on what they say, on the field.
Active duty, maybe.
Active duty on the field.
Maybe do something behind a desk or something. Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't want to see.
But there's something that needs to be a discipline for that.
For
and sure.
And to make sure it doesn't happen again, man, with this guy. And once again, I'll go back to what David Carpenter said when he says, "Hey, I went and hired this guy." That's got to. I mean, I don't want to see anybody lose their job, man. Obviously, you don't want to see anybody go in any kind of bad situation, but you also don't want to see a 16-year-old child being punched in the fucking face.
Absolutely not.
And
handcuffed.
Not.
Let's think about this. This was the only incident we found on video.
Hey, see, that's what I said it earlier, man. I mean, the man already kind of exhibited hostile, intentions toward a woman, man. That got me almost as much as him punching that kid in the face.
Well, and
when he bowed up to that mother and walked toward her,
dragging him off with it, like you say, his leg is up in the air, like a drunk bouncer.
I go, you know what, man? Since we started talking about it again, I go back. Nah, man, he does not need to be on the police force.
Okay. But again, it's to like you say, to Bill Beam, all the officers out there, we appreciate you. We really do. But you've got to realize that this guy makes you all look bad.
It makes you all look bad, and he's got to do the right thing.
And you think about that one officer that was dragging him off there. Saved a lot of trouble.
Let's talk about him. He's a hero.
Right.
And so once again, not to punt. I'm not one of these fuck the police people. I'm just not, man. There's a lot of those people out there.
I would never.
This does not help, and this doesn't help people who kind of go against that.
Yeah,
right.
Because right now, man, if I brought up Black Lives Matters a little earlier. I brought up the ACLU. Well, man, if they got a hold of this, it would be a huge fuck the police in Lincoln County. But we don't want that because that's not the way it should be.
It's not. And we were talking about simple facts of that people are. Trying to just do their job as best they can.
Right.
And again, we're talking about, and I will go back to what I said, they're not trained for this.
Right.
This is not what they should not have been called.
No, not at all. And once again,
Atrium.
It's on Atrium, 100% on Atrium. It's also on Polston. It's on Bill Beam for not taking care of this.
And I'm like I say, I'm not taking away from their responsibility for it, but I'm just saying this should not have got this far.
No, it shouldn't have happened to begin with, man. Especially going back to when the kid was trying to leave.
Right. The kid was trying to leave. His mother, I'll take him home.
Understood. Okay, this was not the right choice to bring him here. This is I would do better at home, and she would have. She would have done a lot better with him at home, and.
Why did that security guard not go get somebody and say, bring a wheelchair out and let's take this kid in?
Let's take the kid in, man.
And then the kid would probably have went in. I mean, he would have bitched and moaned about it because he's a 16-year-old drunk.
Right.
And I'm not being flippant about that, but he was. They said he was intoxicated.
Yeah, and he was raising hell, man. We got to keep that in mind too. He was raising hell. We can't
put it all off on him, but he was he was having problems and. Oh, it's a vicious circle, and I just get so upset trying to figure it out. But I just think that this should not have got this far.
No, man, it definitely shouldn't have escalated as much as it did.
The Deputy Polston should have been out cruising somewhere else and not been there that night.
But you know what, man, I'm gonna try to shine a little bit of a bright light on this. Not much of a bright light or a silver lining. Like I said, it's not gonna be much of one here. But a couple things that hopefully a positive we can take is one, to kind of devil advocate what you just said, Wayne. Instead of that man being out on patrol, at least we got to see on camera, and everybody got to see what kind of man we're dealing with here. That's a good thing. It's bad how it happened. It's bad for the kid. It's bad for the mother. But I think overall it was a good thing that the public can be like, hey, we see this guy now. Mm-hmm. We see what kind of man he is. Once again, I don't want to put his integrity in question. I don't know. I even brought up a little earlier, has he showed violence toward women in the past? Will he in the future? I don't know. I mean, he's definitely got the potential for it because he just did it. We saw it.
Right.
I mean, this isn't something we're making up, man. We just saw him bow up on this female. So now everybody gets to see it. So maybe it's a good thing, that we can put a light on it. And something else, and then I guess we can probably end the show, man. I don't.
Oh no, we got quite a good bit left to go.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely need to take a break in here, but and come back because there's quite a bit more.
Well,
that we need to talk about on this whole situation.
All right. Well, I tell you what, man. I'll say this about some of the Facebook stuff, and then we can keep on going because I need to take a little break myself. I don't know if we're going to play a song. I don't know, man. Let's not maybe play a song.
Yeah, we'll just play something silly in between.
Or we can kind of maybe, we'll figure something out. But one thing I was going to say, when I was looking at some of these Facebook comments, especially on L-Town, there's a lot of people, man, goddamn, I guess I'm already kind of in a hole anyway here. Fucking, I might as well keep digging.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
definitely a lot. And we need to touch on some of those comments as well.
Well, and that was what I was going to say. At least we get to see who the authoritarians are.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And brother, I mean, I might get some heat on me for that. I might get some hate on me for that. But I like to see who the people say, well, the cop was not in the wrong here. I like to see who those people are, man, because I know, Wayne, I know you're a liberal. I consider myself to be a little right of center maybe. But, this is not a right or left thing, man. This is an authoritarian thing, which can go either side of those left or rights.
Yeah. And by liberal, I mean I'm a Southern liberal. I have guns. I grew up with them. Right. I believe that people should have the right to bear their arms if they want to. I'm a Southern liberal,
right,
which means I have different views on things.
Right. So and like
I'm an agitator.
There you go.
Well, brother, you're on the right show today.
I got no problem with that.
That's my political side. I am an agitator on both sides.
On both sides. And Mike, I was going to say, man, instead of taking a break, man, let's keep, because I got to go hit the bathroom is what I got to do.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Okay, well, I tell you what, let's take it in shifts. Wayne, are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, well, I tell you what, man, let's one of us take a break and keep going with Wayne, and then we'll tag out. Do you want to go first?
Let me go first. Are you really bad?
I'm bad, man.
Okay,
I'm bad. Yeah, let me go. Let me go.
See him swimming over here.
Man, I'm getting a little fidgety.
Yeah, we went too hard on the coffee this morning. We were just like, let's attack this.
A little more coffee, please.
No, I want to get into some of those. Like I said, Facebook comments.
Right.
And Facebook in general, as big as it is, but I know we've put a lot of heat on. The sheriff's office.
Right.
Atrium.
Right.
Atrium is I feel, the epicenter of this whole thing, and the director of security. If anybody has seen her interview,
right,
where she is not transparent at all.
No. And I don't think she thinks she has to be because she's a private institution.
Exactly, and that's the problem.
Right. The problem, again, like you say, the problem with that is they're not private. Even if they're privately owned, they're public.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're going, there were things that were handled wrong from the security officers. That's plain in sight.
Right.
The thing that is not is how the paperwork was filed afterwards.
Right.
And all the discrepancies and almost outright falsifying the documents as far as their account of what took place, as far as putting the 16-year-old on the ground instead of forcibly slamming him into the ground. We placed the 16-year-old, sat him down.
Right.
That was what was filled out in the report.
Right.
Obviously, that was not seen that way in the video.
Right.
And to where the director of security is, she's not coming out with a certain answer, to where she's not defending them, but not admonishing them for their actions.
Right.
Especially what they did or the way they filed their paperwork out.
Right.
She's saying there's a issue that this was her saying there's an issue that we need to look into and fix for the future. Right. But she is not really claiming any responsibility for either actions.
Right. Which she needs to step down as well.
Yeah.
Mike, do you want to take a break?
Yeah.
Tag in, tag out. Wayne, are you good?
I'm still good.
Okay.
I didn't have the coffee.
Oh boy, howdy. Boy, can you tell I have?
Yeah. You definitely are. You definitely are on coffee.
Top of that.
Man, and the wasping didn't help. Yeah.
No.
Well, some say it helped or it didn't hurt, but
what he was talking about is the fact that the report from Atrium said, the absolute opposite of what happened. Like, we sat him on the ground. You didn't.
No, they threw him on the ground.
They threw him on the ground.
Yeah.
And I go back to this, and I like to say, I really am having difficulty understanding why there was no medical professional out there to start with.
To begin with,
a car pulls up to your entrance at night.
Yeah.
There's a problem. Get your and again, I'm sorry. I don't mean to I don't understand what's going on. They might have all been busy.
Sure,
it's a hospital.
Right. And I mean, I know when last time I was in the hospital, it was, that place is always busy.
Right.
It really is.
And a hospital like that is going to be busy.
Absolutely. When you have no other options in town,
But they should have let the boy get inside.
Absolutely.
And if he and his mother decide he's not going to go,
let him go home.
Merry Christmas. Go home.
Let him go home, man. And because there wasn't an actual medical issue here. I mean, the kid wasn't really in any danger.
Not at that point.
Not until the cops got involved.
Right. And like I say, they should have never been there. And like I say, I understand what you said about the fact that we got to see what this deputy was capable of.
Right.
And we go back to, I heard somebody say this recently, and I thought it was really good. You are never defined by your best day or your worst day, or the best thing you do or the worst thing you do. This may be the worst thing he's ever done.
Possibly, man.
But it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad, man. And like I said, it showed the character.
It shows something that he's not, like say, he's not. And we can go back to, he's not well trained.
No, he's definitely not qualified, man. And one thing about it, we always talk about, like, we were talking about guns a little earlier, and in fact, we just did the good news with the Reverend Doctor, our other show that we do whenever we can get everybody in the same room. Gun control came up for a little bit, and it's going to come up again in the future. But everybody's so, I guess, what's the word I'm trying to look for, Wayne? Everybody's really set on these background checks for having, handguns at home, this and that. I think we need to take that kind of scrutiny and apply it more to law enforcement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know the hiring process, Wayne. I've never been through it.
I actually one time tried and applied for a position at the Gaston City Police as a dispatcher, and just for a dispatcher, it was a pretty intense thing. I had to do a lie detector. I had to meet with the chief of police.
Right.
I had to go and take tests, many tests, just written intelligence tests. And then the lie detector test was the last thing. And they ask you important questions like, do you have a problem with drugs? Do you and certain things that they need to know. And they checked my high school records.
Yeah.
I mean, this is way back when I was young. I was right out of high school, so they didn't have far to check.
Right.
But I had like 3 or 4 part-time jobs. They went to those jobs.
Really?
And talked to the people I worked with.
So you would only assume, man, because that was at least 80, 90 years ago.
Yeah. Back when I rode my horse and buggy.
Yeah, I was going
But seriously, they checked things like
that.
So, I mean, I had one job for about 2 months at this little convenience store back when I was 16. They went and talked to the guy there.
So you would assume, man, that was for a dispatcher back in the 80s, would you say? Yeah, in the 80s. So you would assume, man, that it's gotten even more, I guess, in depth. You would think, but
because they have the computers now that they can check my criminal background and anything of that nature. They can check if I've ever been in, prison, or they can check if I've ever had any kind of lawsuits against me, or and this is one thing that I don't quite agree with, but I mean, I understand it because it tells about how desperate you are for money. They take your credit rating.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, man, to make sure that you're not in dire straits where you may do something illegal with your ties and your connections.
I mean, even at Radio Shack, when I was hiring up there, we would have to have specific background checks, and they would call me back. Sometimes they were not allowed to tell me what they found, but one time the district secretary sent me a notification, said this applicant is, and she put on the thing, not Horrible.
Just a long, like, don't hire this guy.
Just don't even talk to him anymore.
But you know, when that brings up the question to me is how did this guy, and what, you know, man, once again, I kind of waffle. I go a little bit back and forth. You know, it's like you just said. This may be the absolute worst thing that this guy could be a saint. I don't know him.
Right.
Once again, I don't know Deputy Polston. I don't know anything about him. I've never met the man. I hope I never do, especially if he hears this podcast. But I don't see how somebody who demonstrated this kind of behavior got through those tests, and how, I mean, I don't know. Once again, maybe it was just one of those 1 in a million things.
I don't know if he's ever been on another law enforcement force. I don't know if he's I mean, my nephew had to go through all sorts of things to get when he became a deputy, and he had a degree from Appalachian in criminology.
Right. Well, and it still lends the question: why did David Carpenter say, "Don't hire this man"?
I mean,
I don't get it, man.
You have to have a specific. I mean, if he's going to go to that trouble,
right,
to say this specific, not just say, you know, I wouldn't hire somebody who went to, you know,
who did this or that. Yeah, right.
But he said this guy's by name.
Yeah,
that's you know, he has a specific concern, and David is not going to sit there and say, you know, well, blah blah blah, and say stuff that might be confidential.
Right.
But he is going to tell you, don't hire this guy.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how he even got this far to begin. And it seems like if one sheriff says you're not hireable, I think that would knock you out of contention from here on out, I would think. But apparently I'm wrong.
Let's talk about that. Okay. Let's talk about Facebook.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Bill Beam's Facebook page.
Right. I know he took it down.
Non-existent.
Yeah, it's deactivated. Yeah, it's gone.
Elected officials with Facebooks.
So what now? I'm sorry.
Elected officials. With Facebook.
You're right. Deactivated. Yep.
Does that mean that he has blocked everybody?
Oh, I couldn't. So I wasn't his friend. I wasn't his friend. I looked for him.
I wasn't either, but
and I couldn't find him.
But
I know there is something about elected officials with Facebooks that you cannot block people.
I don't know the rules
Facebook
for that.
Social media.
Right.
And elected officials can't block people because they're the public.
Right. I know that there are rules for that. I don't know exactly what those rules are.
It's like, you know, the president can't block people from his Twitter feed.
Correct. Right.
That was one of the points that was brought up in this article. As far as I don't know about the deletion of a Facebook entirely.
I don't know.
Well, he can do that, I'm pretty sure.
I would
but
think.
At that point, you don't give your people a public forum.
No, you don't. And I noticed something else. Lincoln County Sheriff's Department, unless I just couldn't find it, doesn't have a Facebook page at all.
I don't think so.
Because I looked for it. I was like,
I think at one time they did, but
they have had it before, but I haven't seen it myself either.
Right.
No, I looked for it because I was wanting to see what all people were saying. I know Lincolnton City does.
Yes.
I don't understand why they would not want to have it. I mean, maybe they're not going to want to put out information that would make them look bad, and maybe they don't want to get all the comments, but you get the comments, you at least know where you're at.
You kind of know where you stand. And like I said, going back to what Bill Beam said about if this is the last time I'm going to discuss it on this public forum. I mean, you can call it Facebook, but it's a public forum now.
Right.
You can come see me. And once again, man, that just sounded hostile to me. That just sounds like, I mean, we've all been in that situation. Hey, if you got something to say, come see me.
Right.
We've all been. And what do you mean by that? It means I'm being somewhat hostile right now.
But do you think, Mike, that he has taken this down as a defiant thing, or is he just trying to cover himself on this? Because
I think at this point, he probably doesn't want to deal with the social media.
That's what I think.
You know, because of the comments, because he's going to get actual comments from people that
vote for him.
That vote for him. That want to know what's going on, and also he has to swim through the not so serious.
Sure, well, of course.
He's going to get the trolls.
You're going to get the trolls.
He's definitely going to get the trolls in mass quantity now.
There are going to be people that are going to say, and you know, we and I are on opposite sides from him, but I think we're still being respectful.
Yes,
I think so. Yeah,
I think there are people that are going to get on there and be disrespectful,
very
which
much so.
I don't agree with.
I don't either, man. I mean, you gotta treat this maturely. You know, this is real,
but
guys.
you can't cut that off. I don't
feel
think so. As a public official,
no,
you can't cut that off.
It's like,
it seems cowardly to me.
It does, and it seems like also that, you know, and I hate to say this because somebody, will take it the wrong way, but this is the job he wanted.
This is what you sign up for, guys. I mean,
you had to know this was coming.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it was going to be this or something else.
Something else.
I mean,
you're always under a magnifying glass when you're law enforcement.
Because I mean, and there's 2 points here, to where you're going to wear two hats as a public official. You can be a private individual, or, for lack of a better word, a government actor.
Right. Yeah, sure.
I want to say that you're an official. You're in this government, and while maintaining the First Amendment rights, while acting as an individual, a private individual, I mean, you're subject to the limits of the First Amendment.
Sure.
As far as the place, in the government and the work that you're doing.
Right. And like I said, man, to me it just seems somewhat cowardly. I think he's, at the end of the day, he's like, I ain't screwing with this Facebook people anymore.
That's what it is. Want to swim in that river.
But it's like, I think, Wayne, you just said this is the job that he wanted, man, and that comes with the territory. I mean, you can't just have your cake and eat it too. I mean, you're going to have to take the negatives, and especially when you take the side of what many people are considered to be the wrong side of this thing.
Right.
I get backing up your people. I think we talked about that. I get the loyalty, but
you got to back your people. But like you said,
not if they're in the wrong.
Exactly.
Man. Yeah. And I don't care what anybody says. This man was in the wrong.
Can I say something that's totally not off subject, but I think, and just a blanket statement, I've said this for years, people know me, sheriffs should not be elected.
I disagree with that, brother.
Explain.
I think that they should. I think, in fact, man, it's one of the few jobs that we should elect people, because we need to know who we're. I even think the police commissioner should be.
A police commissioner, I think, is even a better one to be elected. But a sheriff has to be an actual law enforcement officer. You don't always
not a politician.
Not a politician.
Yeah,
this is true.
A commissioner, I think, a police
that.
Commissioner, I think, could be a politician. Should be a politician
to a degree.
To a degree. But you've got to be able to go in there and be a law enforcement. You should not, at the end of the day, sit there and say, we can't arrest so and so because his son is one of my best contributors.
The good old boy,
right.
The good old boy network.
But I think you still have to answer to, say, like the county commissioner.
Oh, and I have no problems with that. I think he should be vetted and appointed like a police chief.
Yes.
That I tend to disagree, because I do like the power of the people to be behind that role.
Again, and I have no problem with that. I'm not saying that it's not a good thing in some ways, but I still think that there's a lot, and this is again me, I don't think judges in North Carolina should be elected, because we've got a bunch of yahoos.
Yeah, well, once again, that's where democracy can fail us at times. It can.
And it can.
Yeah. It can.
But and like I say, we're not going to get off on that rant because but I just want to say that's a whole other show. But getting back to
it goes into, like, do you work for the people, or do you work for your particular
person,
or your particular public or not public
politicians?
Yeah,
because somebody's getting elected somewhere.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Or you work for the people, or your specific political affiliation.
Yeah, democracy is great when you have like this, where you're getting people elected.
Right.
But they're getting elected by, and I said this the other night on Twitter. I think it was, somebody was saying something about why are people saying that people in the Midwest are taking over from the people in California. You've got one senator in South Dakota who represents 200,000 people.
Yeah,
You've got one senator in California who represents 8 million people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right.
Yeah.
That is not right at all.
Yeah.
They should do it like corporations. You've had shares of
shareholders.
Stock. I mean, this guy, he's got 200,000 votes. This guy's got 8 million. Shut up.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not trying to be mean to the folks out in the Midwest. I understand that you get a lot of disrespect, but you have to understand, just because you believe it does not mean the majority of people believe it.
Right. See, now I disagree with you on that, Wayne. And once again, I'm kind of ignorant of this stuff anyway, man.
Go ahead.
But you talking about the Electoral College, stuff like that?
Well, the Electoral College should be abolished.
See,
anyway.
I disagree with that.
Oh, that should be burned down and.
My God, Wayne, we're. We'll get into that later, man. I need to do my research first.
Right, but
because you're more for the Electoral College instead of the popular vote.
Yes, yeah. Right. I think, man, looked at videos, on YouTube, man. It's about as far as
I love YouTube.
It's a complicated system.
It's very complicated, man. But I think this one guy made
and
a
an
good
arcane
point.
system.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's an old system, but it's I think it works, man. Because I don't believe in pure democracy, guys. I'll go, Jesus, man. Here we go. We're starting to get really way off into it, and we do probably got in the show now.
Mike and I look shocked.
Yeah.
Fans were out of time.
Yeah, I think, man, sometimes because I think the general population can be easily manipulated.
Which explains the top TV show being The Bachelor.
There you go. But this one guy explained it best. He's like, if the people in California want to vote to take all the resources from North Dakota, well, hell, they could. So there's the old two wolves and a lamb are voting on what to have for dinner.
Right.
Not a perfect democracy is not perfect either because we're not perfect people.
And I understand that also. And there's a lot to be said for the fact that you think that the majority pack people here would take advantage of the people here.
Right.
And that's possible.
And that's happened in the past.
It's happened in the past. But you've also seen people who've gone into Congress who are so ignorant.
Oh yes, sir.
Oh,
you do.
And they represent the best of their people.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not I've always said, man, our system of government is as perfect as the people.
And it's the best one except for all the others, or the worst one except for all the others.
All the other, right.
But what I'm saying is, I think that we have got to the point where in this country right now we are so tribal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact
across the board.
I know for a fact I have people who I've been friends with for a long time who won't talk to me
anymore over politics, man, over silly politics.
And I'm not going to get into it now because, like I say, we're talking about something that's away from politics. But like I say, it's just I wish, and I have so many friends that I just love to talk to about things.
Yeah.
I don't talk to them about politics because I don't have to. I know where they stand. They know where I stand. We're not trying to change each other's minds.
And everybody's cool with it,
right?
Man. And we'll let the people vote.
And people need to vote. And if you don't want to vote, screw you.
Yeah, you ought to do something.
Do something.
If
you I mean. If you can't get out to vote, they have
vote
absentee
third party,
ballot.
man.
Right.
I'll say vote third party.
Right.
If there's not anybody on the ballot you feel comfortable with, Democrat or Republican, go vote third party, man.
Right.
Hell, just
do something.
Do something. Well, guys, let's talk about Warren Zevon.
I want to touch on some of these Facebook comments
do too.
that were on the L-Town Radio.
We probably need to start wrapping it up, too.
We could probably talk about this all day.
Oh, we can make
For
it.
sure.
Well, once again, so Warren Zevon is not going to be talked about today in the original.
This is volume 5.
Warren had trouble with the law one time.
Yeah, he did.
Sure did. Let's say one person, right, and this is on the L-Town
Radio.
Yes, when they put out the statement from Bill Beam.
Okay.
Some of the reaction you're getting from that, it's over 200.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's got over 100 since last night.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
So you can imagine these are the vocal people. This isn't even everybody that has an opinion about
right,
it.
This is just people that
hasn't even put it on.
Right.
That haven't posted.
A very small group of people.
Yes.
Very
I'm
small.
going to pick out some of these. Vote him out and put someone in that is educated about mental illness. Retrain the whole department.
Yeah. In fact, there's a petition going out I just got when I was in the bathroom to remove Bill Beam from office. There's a petition going on.
I didn't even know that.
From change.org.
Yeah, for change.org. And there's also one to have Deputy Polston fired, which
Yes.
I did sign that this morning.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. I did sign that, yeah. That's going around too, yeah. So
Another one, this jackass completely fabricated the whole story as if we didn't watch the video.
yeah. I mean, really? Read some of the pro Bill Beam.
Okay.
So, yeah.
They're there, but
I understand.
it takes a while to
the authoritarians
to get there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Thank God they're the minority.
I can't believe this. He is sitting there lying on national TV. The video is flooding Facebook. I don't care if they didn't put him in handcuffs on him. He was handcuffed, and they knew it.
Yeah.
And he's sitting down. I don't know. I don't see now his face down at the board.
Sometimes, man, these
it's a little
Facebook,
tough
they get a
to,
little crazy.
yeah.
fire them all and put Justin Polston in jail for hitting a minor.
Which I think, man, is a
right.
fair.
What I don't understand is why DSS wasn't involved, or that's
That's a
good
fair question.
Not sure about how that works.
Fair
but,
question.
It's a concern.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's run down.
Yeah, you do got to,
more.
man, I tell you, some people
There's
that get
some
on
of it,
Facebook,
yeah,
it's hard to read.
yeah.
I've seen people put on there, somebody said to somebody the other day, said, hope you're that going good.
Yeah, dude, I've literally, because, man, my grammar's terrible. I'll be the first one to tell you, but, man, there's some on here that's like, guys, come on now.
Right.
Come on now.
Hey, Sheriff, you might want to shut up now before you completely embarrass your department.
All right.
Hashtag
Fair.
recall Bill Beam.
Hey.
Let's see.
Well, I know people saying he needs to be fired, and people's like, you got to vote him out, guys. I mean, you know,
or recall.
or recall.
Yeah.
And like I say, this is where Facebook actually has some good points to it.
Sure.
It rallies people around a specific thing,
Yes.
but it also can bring out the crazies.
And you also got to make sure that thing they rally around is right.
Right.
You know, I mean, really, man, we got to keep it real.
Facebook
you know?
has already admitted they will not take down false ads because it's not their problem.
There you go. There it is. Fake news. Yeah.
Let's see. I have to say this. It's not coming up, but my son has been to the hospital for the same reason. He's 13. It's embarrassing to talk about, but the only child mental health service even around is in Catawba County.
Yeah. Resources, money, resources. Yeah.
And let's see. And have to come to this one in support of Lincolnton. Did not sign a safety sheet for my own son's medicine at the time that this happened. And I have a lot of problems with doctors and the Lincolnton Hospital. I just wonder if this boy had the same problem in the same county at the same facility as my son at this time. So that would mean he would be off of his meds.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's not the case, I sent my son here in October, and while I was at work, they sent him all the way to Wilmington Beach.
Oh,
now,
Jesus.
while
God.
now while he was working at Wilmington Beach Hospital, I went and signed him out against the doctors while the only found the hospital was being investigated. And have Medicare calling me, asking me, you know, if he had any cuts or scars, tattoos. If you can't take care of your kids for help, then what are you supposed to do?
See, and that's going back to what I was saying earlier. There's no other options. See, that's the libertarian in me. It's like, hey, let's have hospitals to compete against each other, where maybe, hey, come to our hospital and your son won't get beat up.
Right.
Hey, man, that's a market employer right there, man.
But the simple fact of the matter is that, like you said, when Atrium is there, they have nobody to answer to.
None.
I mean, this is, like I say, this woman says her son was turned away.
Yeah. And I mean, there's nowhere else to go, man. And I'm not really, I am for universal health care, but even then, you don't have.
You've got to have the people there to do it.
Yes.
The mental health facilities have to be there. And they will tell you that a teenager or adolescent is different from an adult. You need different training.
Yes, sir. And different resources. You need resources in general, which we don't.
And then it's like that comes back to money. Nobody wants to spend any money.
That's it, man.
Everybody wants everything done right, but they don't want to spend any money.
They want their cake and they want to eat it too, man.
Yeah,
right. Mike, you got any others here, brother?
There's a lot, man. You know, there's a lot of opinions on here. You know, mostly, you know, for, you know, really
kind of the same page we're all on.
Right.
Now, I know one that I read.
There has to be something done. Of course, there are some that, you know, the 16-year-old, you know, deserve to get his ass beat.
That was one.
Yeah.
I read a few like that. One was like, if some kid spit on me, I'd beat him up too, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, that's why you're not a cop.
Exactly.
Right.
And I'm like, that's why you do not need to be in the police force, just like this other gentleman does not need to be in the police force,
and if
not
you think
with that
about
behavior.
That, anybody who says that is thinking so wrong. I mean,
I agree.
You're not.
agree.
If you're a 16-year-old and say you want to beat up a 16-year-old,
okay, you're a child. You're an adolescent. Yeah.
But if you're a grown ass man
Saying
and you
that,
say
man.
I'm going to beat you up, sit down and shut up. You're wrong.
Something's wrong. Yeah, I mean, you need to grow up. And you know, we can always devil advocate. Like I say, man, I've even devil advocated for the police in this particular, because we don't know what was going on. You know, I'll say that, but come on, man, at the end of the day, anybody that watched that footage, if you think that this kid had it coming or deserved what he got, come on, man. You need to look in the mirror.
Situation, and we're not totally sure of the mental illness that, you know, potentially was in this 16-year-old,
or if he was drunk or not, you know, which has been, you know,
which could be both.
It can be both, man. It can be both.
A combination.
Absolutely.
But what if you had a 16-year-old that was actually on the spectrum,
right,
and this happened because I'm in the public,
right?
You know, and I see a lot of kids that are on the spectrum that can act out.
Sure. Even kids that are not on the spectrum can still, you know,
but
obviously.
On the spectrum. Definitely on the spectrum, and they act out. Not because they want to.
It's just what's going on.
Happens.
It's what it is.
It's what happens. What if this had been that incident?
Right.
And what if he had done that to a kid that was on that spectrum?
Yeah. We don't know. That kid may be.
Could be.
We don't know. We don't know all the details
because they are not being transparent.
People don't
with any of this stuff.
No, they're not, man. No.
People don't respect mental illness because you can't see it.
That's what we were saying a little earlier,
right?
Man. Yeah.
And think about this: if the kid had like, let's go to the coronavirus.
Sure.
If the kid had the coronavirus and sneezed on you, would you have still slapped him?
Thank you. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Amen.
I mean, the kid didn't mean it. I mean, the kid meant to spit. I'm not going to advocate that he didn't.
Right, man. We got to keep.
I'm not. And again,
but if you don't have the mental temperament to
realize it's a kid,
handle a situation,
to handle that situation, you get, and you're a cop, you may get spit on. Okay,
that's why you keep wipes in your car and disinfect it,
and that's also why you have to hire deputies that can handle that. Especially when it's a kid, man, especially with mental illness, especially the one that just got tackled down. And my whole thing was, well, he spit blood in his face. Blood. He's got blood in his mouth for a reason.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we ought to shut this bad boy down. I'm emotionally drained. Well,
for sure.
I hope everybody had a good time on this week's podcast. So Warren Zevon and Comeback albums. We will come back.
Is there any coming back from this?
For who? For Bill Bean? I don't think. I
don't think, as much as I would like to see something happen, as far as the Atrium side.
No.
Like Wayne and I were discussing earlier, it's, you know, with the private establishment.
There's no way, man.
I doubt that will happen. Of course, with the sheriff's office, it's public.
It's public. Now,
the memory of the public is short. They will forget about this in a week.
In 2 years, and especially in 2 years. A week for sure. That's why whoever runs against Bill Beam in the primary, and it's going to be a Republican. Republicans always win. And that's fine.
And like I say, it doesn't come down to who does law enforcement best per party.
Right.
But like you say, if someone does challenge him in the primary, if they're not using this, then they don't want it.
They don't want it, and you're doing the public a disservice. I just hope the public maybe can hold on to a little bit of this. But Mike, just kind of talk about how we're talking about how it's private. Atrium. Kind of going back to my libertarianism here. I think if you're going to be private, man, then we got to have competition. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You got to have options.
Yeah.
You can't just have this monopoly type private company with no competition, because then it becomes something else.
And this comes into where my liberalism comes in. There needs to be government oversight of private hospitals.
Yes.
Hey, brother. I mean,
absolutely.
You can't really,
and jails as well.
Private prisons should not exist.
No.
But we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later.
Whole other
show.
We'll get into that later. But Wayne, I can't disagree. As the libertarian in me, can't necessarily disagree with what
there
you just said.
There has to be a higher power that will smack you down when you do something,
and not just let them run roughshod like this lady did in this interview. Because she needs to resign. Man.
Yeah,
she needs to step down. She needs to.
I think
there's no control.
Right. Yeah. I think it all boils down to what we said at the beginning. This escalated, and it started with that one Atrium guard, and that's it. Yep. I mean, the woman bringing
the domino, brother. Yep.
The woman bringing her son in for help, that was not the problem.
No.
It was the reaction she got that was the problem.
And it all dominoed effect from there.
And the police should have never been, or the sheriff's deputy should never have been called.
No, sir. Well, guys, this has been a great uplifting, fun, laugh-a-minute episode.
Yeah.
Which,
can I get a hug?
Yeah, I need one, brother. I need one. We're going to have a group hug after this. Once again, to the sheriff's department, no disrespect, but, guys, do the right thing. Do the right thing, man. Know who you
we
got
appreciate
on.
you.
We appreciate you.
We know we could not exist without you, but by the same token, you need to be professional.
You're not infallible.
Yeah.
Nope.
You're not infallible, man. Neither are the people that work for you, and do the right thing.
Yeah.
Bill Beam can still pull out. I think he can still do the right thing. I think he can fire. I think the man shouldn't be on the force, man. I don't feel safer with a man like that.
He's definitely going to
I don't know what's going to happen.
A lot more transparent than he has been this past week.
I
don't know what's going to happen with the sheriff. I think that it's going to be up to the public. The comments you read, Mike, that's going to be the tail of the tape. What happens on this with so many people right now who are so mad?
Yeah.
Is this going to continue, or is this just going to peter out?
Yeah. You never know, man. But once again, I think Bill Beam should do the right thing. I think Deputy Polston, no disrespect to him, I don't know him. Like I said, he may be the greatest guy. This may have been a 1 in a million shot of what happened, but I do not feel safe with this man on the police force. And I think that's what it's supposed to be about, is feeling safe with your police. And right now, I can truly say, man, honestly, I don't. And I don't think that he should be on the force. I don't wish him ill will. I don't wish him to starve. I hope he can find a good profession that suits him. I just don't think that being a deputy does. At least not from what we all saw with our own eyes.
Maybe check with Atrium. They're looking for security guards.
Maybe not. Maybe not, Wayne. Maybe not, Wayne.
Yeah.
On that note, Mike, anything you want to end us with on this very serious episode of the podcast?
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad everybody is aware of wasping now.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for that.
If you need to get your meth a little extra kick, go get you some wasp spray. Wayne. Wayne, once again, brother, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This has been an experience.
This has been something else, man. I'm glad you were. Once again, we did not mean to talk about this the whole episode. We weren't even going to talk about it at all when we come up with the show. Yeah. But, things happen.
It just happens.
And we had Wayne. Wayne was coming in, and I'm glad you did, brother.
Man, you guys are great. I appreciate you having me every time.
Yes, sir, brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
We're signing off of a CNN.
I know, man. Like I said, I hope I'm not riding down the road one day and hey, we got that PUD in front of us, pull them over. I get Rodney Kinged or something.
Yikes.
Yeah. On that note, I definitely want to go ahead and shut up now. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, then God bless you.
Let us know what you think.
Let us know.
Please do.
Man,
absolutely.
Let us know.
Let all the officials know what you think.
This is what's going to take.
This is America, man. We can say and do these things. Let's take advantage of it while we can.
Right. Always.
All right. Well, until next week, all you puds out there. Next week, I swear we'll be a little bit more lighthearted, and
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens next week.
You never know.
So, Jason, I hear you got beat up by the cops this week. I love the cops. I love the police.
Right.
All right, man. Until next week, you guys out there have a good one.
And not only that, David, I understand we're right at the end of our program.
No, we have got to go.
This has been a great event.
There's some people out there that hate us for this.